Okay, so here I am. My name's Simon, and I'm here on behalf of CNX Insure doing CNX Stories. And this is all about introducing and getting to know other customers who are, like ourselves, expats living here in Chiang Mai. So welcome Ian. How are you, sir? Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. All good, thank you, Simon.
Very good, very good. And so I'm going to start off with giving you the most cliche kind of expat or Chiang Mai question that you could ever have, which is, how long have you been here in Chiang Mai and what brought you here?
Okay, so I've been in Chiang Mai 8 years. Prior to that, I was living in Koh Samui for just over 5 years with my wife, and then a little baby came along and suddenly we decided that the beach life was not really suitable anymore and we came up here. So we love it.
Cool, cool. So no regrets coming up into Chiang Mai?
No, not at all. It's sensible when you've got children, it's good schools, hospitals, and it's cheaper than living in a holiday location. So it ticks all the boxes up here for us, really. It's great.
Sure. Now, we have actually met before this interview. We've met a few times. I remember meeting you quite some time ago now on a motorbike trip somewhere.
Yeah, it was about 3 years ago, if I recall. We went out for a day and there was a load of us and we were drinking coffee and looking at motorbikes and pretending we all were very, very into them. And,
fun times.
All the rest
fun
of it.
Times.
Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, it's a big part of my enjoyment of Chiang Mai is getting out on the bike. And I noticed now you have a very slightly strange motorbike from what I remember.
It's strange because it's what's called a super motard, and it's basically a sort of an enduro bike with sort of street tyres on it, and there's a bit more to it, but it's an odd looking thing. And actually, when I compare it to all the other motorbikes, I'm the only bike that really has a carburettor. So all the big bikes that we're riding with are all kind of finely tuned with computers and injectors. Mine's not. So it's strange for more than one reason.
Yeah, and I've got one of these city motorbikes that has lots of flashing lights and various things flash at me and I've got no idea what's going on. So maybe there's something to be said for the old school.
Mine's the opposite.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I also know, unfortunately, a little while ago now, you did actually have an accident. Perhaps you can just explain a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was the 1st of October 2021, 7 o'clock in the evening, just reasonably local to where I live, just coming home, and it just rained, and a guy was driving a car on the opposite side of the road, decided in the dark, with no lights on, to do a U-turn. So suddenly I had a car right in front of me and I panicked and I just put on the brakes and I came off and sustained quite a bad a bunch of injuries.
And did you have a helmet on or?
I had everything. I had all the gear on, helmet, everything. And it was just one of those things, it happens.
It does, unfortunately. But this wasn't your supermotor, this was just a small bike?
This is just a regular scooter, yeah.
Cool. And I mean, can I ask what sort of injuries, if any, did you sort of sustain?
I sustained 8 ribs all in a line, completely broken. 3 of them broke on the spine, and then I really smashed up my collarbone. It wasn't good. It really wasn't.
Yeah, you gave it a good go, right?
Oh yeah. And if I didn't, actually I must say, it wasn't until about 6 weeks afterwards I looked at the crash helmet and it looked like someone had thrown a house brick at the helmet. Had I not been wearing that, I would have been dead for sure.
I hate hearing these stories, but I also think it's kind of important for me as a motorbiker to hear them, because it's so easy to get a bit blasé on the motorbikes, right? I mean, we obviously try and drive smart, we even wear the right gear as you were doing, and yours was a low speed impact, and it was
very low speed,
and not with another vehicle. I mean, with the ground. So it's kind of humbling. So obviously rushed to hospital. I've got to ask, we are an insurance company. Were you insured?
I was insured, yeah,
right.
With CNX, yeah.
Right. And that would it be accident insurance?
Accident insurance, yeah. I think it covered me for something Anyway, it did what it had to do.
Good. I know that there's, unless things change, as I recall this, there's two different levels, 50,000 and 100,000. I think your bill was closer to the 100, right?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. I think I did about 95,000 in Ram Hospital.
Yeah, so it just shows how quick the bills can accelerate through an accident that was big in terms of your injuries sustained, but not big on paper, right? I mean, if you had told me without the injuries, I was like, oh, okay, he's fallen off his bike at 10 miles an hour. Okay, probably a few scratches and bruises, but unfortunately it was a lot worse than that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just
okay. Well, live to fight another day. That's the main thing. That's also the most important. And back on the bike, or how are you feeling about that?
I'm not on the big bike. I'm on the sort of scooter day to day. But to be honest, I'm driving the truck a lot more these days. I just feel that I'm sort of cautious, shall we say?
Sure. Got to learn from these experiences and do what you feel comfortable with, right? So, just changing topic a little bit. So, did you have a business while she was working or living down in Koh Samui beforehand?
No, I wasn't. What I was doing in Samui, I was, I've been a chef all my life. So what I was doing, I was very fortunate that the experience I had, I was able to jump in and out of the events game. So I basically did 6 months on, 6 months off. So I either did the Christmas season or the sort of wedding season. So I would work very, very hard, a lot of hours, and save my money up, go and sit on the beach, have a great time.
So would you go back to the UK to do that?
No, I'm too old to do that. I'm getting towards 60, so it's a young man's game, shall we say?
So all that employment was actually in Koh Samui or in Thailand?
Well, no. I'm sorry. I was going back to the UK. I beg your pardon. I was going back to the UK.
To go back to the UK, earn some dosh, and come back and actually enjoy yourself. Okay, good plan. And I know that now you do have your own business up here in Chiang Mai. Perhaps you can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I've got a business here. It's called Laughing Monkey. Unusual name, I know. But what we basically do is we make ready meals, charcuterie, sausages, bacon, all sorts of things. We've got an e-commerce website. We've got a shop, and we're with the various apps, so you can order, and you can just sort of turn up and grab a basket and open the fridge or freezer's door and just fill up your basket to your own liking. So it's a good little business. Yeah.
I mean, as you know, I'm one of your customers. I usually come to you and it's like barbecue time. And in fact, today I got a big delivery from you of beef burgers and sausage. Some of the best sausages I've tasted in Chiang Mai. So definitely give those a try. And I've got to ask, I actually quite like the name Laughing Monk. I think it's quite memorable. But any particular reason? It's not a nickname at school or something?
No, nothing. You know what's really weird? It just came into my head, and it's weird. It's nothing to do with food. We don't cook any monkeys. We've probably had a few monkeys working with us, but I don't know. It sticks in people's mind, and that's what we want, really. So, and then 7 years down the line, people know it now. So it's good.
And I think you used to be mostly business to business. I mean, I don't know you in that capacity, right? But is that correct?
Well, yeah. I mean, you mean in terms of selling to hotels?
Customers. Yeah, you used to sell to hotels and restaurants.
Yeah, I mean, before COVID, we had 3 5-star hotels, various other hotels, guest houses, restaurants, but the COVID thing really messed things up. And the hotels aren't coming back at the moment, but I'm getting a lot more restaurants and cafes coming back. But what we've realised with COVID, or what we found out, is that people have become lazy. They just press their button and their food turns up. So we're on that track. We're doing that as well. So we're keeping up with the demand.
Excellent. Well, look, thank you, Ian, for joining me today. Nice to get a little introduction. And if anyone wants to check you out, then please do so. And I've got your contact details here on screen, so you can just jump to laughingmonkey.info. Just to note, it's .info, not .com, which is easy to assume. And I can personally say, on a hand on heart, from my personal experience, that the food I've got from here is great. What is your sort of most famous, your biggest selling items?
In terms of sausages, breakfast banger is the main seller. closely followed by the British Cumberland. And then on our ready meals, the number one, would you believe, is the chicken tikka masala, followed closely by the beef lasagna.
Oh, good to know. Okay, so if anyone's feeling hungry, now they know where to go.